collectively as friends of Gig, I want to say thank you for coming out and sharing some stories, sharing a beer, sharing a couple of laughs. Real quick, logistics, bathrooms back there. There are brats up here. Please help yourself. Thank you, Paul Colosco, donated the brats. They're up here. There's other food here. And then obviously everyone's found the bar back there. I started a slideshow. It'll just run all night. There's just random pictures that some of you have sent in. Thank you very much. And we're going to open this microphone. The microphone will be right up here when I'm done. Please just come up at any time, share a story, share a joke. I think we all know Gig had a couple of good jokes in his life, so if you remember any of them, feel free. A couple of quick thank yous. Big thank you to Mary Pinion, a friend of Gig's, a roommate of Gig's, a co-worker of Gig's, known Gig for a long time. Thank you for all your effort to put this together. It was great. We gave Mary the idea of what we wanted, and she made all of this happen. So thank you very much. Chip, thank you for the audio-visual equipment. Thank you to Eggs in the City for letting us use their place. So I did want to make one special thank you and take the opportunity to publicly thank two people who, just incredible couple for what they did for Gig. And that's Greg and Julie. I'm sure I'm embarrassing the hell out of Greg, but if you don't know Greg is Gig's oldest nephew. Clearly shared a special bond throughout their whole life. Greg was a regular sidekick around all of us. He's grown up with Gig. He probably heard and saw things he shouldn't have, but he did. And after Gig was first diagnosed, Greg and Julie took him into their home and were there for him and cared for him all the way up until the last day. So Gig was never alone. So thank you, Greg and Julie. So real quick, like I said, I wanted to have the microphone open for everybody to come up and share your thoughts. I have a couple of just really quick to kick things off here. Share a couple of memories or favorite stories that I have of Gig with the game of true or false. So, five questions here. First question. Gig's first name was actually Gig.
No, false.
Wow. False. John Timothy McGuire, or as his mom called him, Timmy! Timmy! No beer! That's right. No, that's right. Yes, we were leaving everything. Question number 2. Gig could dunk a basketball. That is false. Despite one of his nicknames being Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Gig, and contrary to something that he used to say, 5'8" is not tall. So we all know Gig's favorite baseball team was the Cincinnati Reds, which, did you know his favorite football team was the Cincinnati Bengals?
False.
Yeah, I don't know anybody whose favorite team is the Bengals. Clearly not Gig's. Gig was the Rams. Gig was a real sports guy. Between him and our other friend who passed away later last year, Horsey, they can recall every player, stat, and score in history of any game. 1964, Reds versus, and Gig would, and Horsey, they just know it all. Gig loved to play sports, too. He played a lot. Baseball, basketball, football, rugby, soccer, swim team, golf. Yeah, swim team. And I was fortunate enough to had the pleasure of playing a lot of sports with Gig since we were 6-7 years old. And I also enjoyed sitting at Bees games behind the third base dugout and Gig just absolutely entertaining the opposing team the entire game. It was great. So Gig, no question for Gig traveled around every continent with the exception of Greenland.
Antarctica. Greenland's not gone.
Bing, 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 bing. That's false. Greenland is not a continent. And the only continent he didn't get to was Antarctica. I heard somebody say that. Gig was one of the most traveled people, maybe the most traveled person that I knew. He was great. He would come home. He would work at Harvey's or one of the other various clubs and bars around the town, save up his money for maybe 2 years, and then he'd go away for 2 years and just have these wild, crazy, fun adventures. Sometimes with people. He went with Bill. He went with other people. But he'd always come back with stories and new friends. It was great. So last question. Gig's favorite TV channel was the Fox News channel. And he loved Donald Trump. I think maybe the answer would be false to that one as well. I can't think of anything more false about him. But politics aside, Gig was also one of the most learned people that I knew. As Greg pointed out in his obituary, he appreciated and understood the human condition like no other. I think those were Greg's words, and that was so well put. He was generous and compassionate to a fault. Later in life, he found a way to share everything that he had experienced and learned throughout his life by becoming a teacher. I can't imagine Gig as my teacher. That would be so awesome. So cool to have him. So what a special treat those kids had. So I'm done. I'm going to step aside. The mic is up here. The pictures will be going all night. Please help yourself to the food and the drink, and let's all have some fun. Thank you.
As their shot of whiskey, we're going to do a toast to Gig. Has anybody got one? Okay, I'm going to wait. And in the meantime, I'm just going to say a few things about Gig. I've had the pleasure of spending a lot of time with him over the last couple months of his life. And he was very much opposed to a funeral or any kind of gathering. But I must say, he would approve of this. He did relent towards the end and said, well, if you want to do something, you can go ahead and do something. So thanks everybody for coming out. Gig was, it's kind of a person who binds us all together in a way. I mean, one of the things that I appreciated spending so much time with him towards the end was, I just got to hear his stories more and more. And Gig, it kind of dawned on me long ago, actually, that Gig is sort of our oral historian. And, really, I know a lot about a lot of you from Gig stories. You might have heard stories about our Australia trip. Stories about Gig searching for pot in every continent on the globe. Pygmies. We've all heard it.
Pygmies. 5 times at least.
Well, the thing is, Mark, you say that, and I used to goddamn Gig, I've heard your cutest story 50 times. Because, I just happened to be there, and somebody new had to hear the story. But that's the way oral history works, right? I mean, you can't tell it 1 or 2 times. I mean, people forget. So one of the things I'd like to suggest is, Gig and I actually talked about, we talked about a lot of stuff we don't end up doing, and one of the things that, he was interested in doing was recording some of his stories, and we never got there. I mean, he just didn't feel too well, and, it was a hard thing to do, and, you got a lot of excuses not to do stuff like that, but, I'm going to continue telling Gig stories, and hopefully we all will, and it's kind of his legacy for all of us, and, it's always fun to hear them. And now, even second, third generation people know gig stories. So, feel free to come up here on the microphone, share them. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. But let's keep his stories going because we all love them. Anyhow, this is to my friend Gig.
We should just keep it going here before people start talking. So, I'm Joe McGuire. I know most everybody here, and before I get off to a story, I do want to give a special thanks to Beef, who did some really amazing caregiving for Gig through the end with Greg and everybody, and also the rest of the local guys from our class of 81. Most folks here know we have sort of a brotherhood of 10 to 15 guys. But for the out-of-towners like me and Kenny and Juice, it's just great to have you and, Murph, way to go.
Yeah, Murph screwed it up.
Way to go, Murph.
Yeah, we all went to Crossview Elementary together in kindergarten, except Murph, and you can see why he's always been struggling to get back in. Isn't that about right? Yeah. Anyways, for the local guys, thanks a lot. Ted, Dan, Murph, who am I missing? Anybody else? Okay. And for me and Kenny and Juice and Dan and everybody who's out of town, we just wanted to say it's nice to have you here through that for us. So, as Beef said, great storyteller. Gig could bring humor to any situation, and even to the end when we would call him, it was amazing to me how much grace he had, how he was able to take a dire situation and just turn it into some incredible humor. I couldn't hang up the phone. We talked for hours, and I know other people did the same thing. And I talk to the guys here, and they just say, wow, God, it's even hard to leave the house. He just wants to continue telling the stories. And so that's kind of the theme was for my talk here, and this one story I want to tell is how he can bring humor to everything. And the story, there's a picture in this slideshow that Murph's got of me and Ted and Gig playing golf one day. We were probably out of high school, but not much. And so we were up at Wasatch, and we had one cart. We were a threesome. It was me and Ted and Gig, and we were fighting about who would ride in the cart. And it turned the whole front nine into a guy would hit the ball, and the other two would take off in the cart. And the third guy would run up, trying to get in the cart. By then, he'd be in his ball. And so it went like that for a while. And on the 10th green, Ted and I just took off while Gig was putting. And I don't know if any of you have played Wasatch, but you know this hole. There's a little curve, and Gig takes off. And he catches us, because the golf carts aren't that fast, and he jumps onto the cart and is riding it, and we're laughing and giggling, and of course, me or Ted, we start hitting his hand, so he has to let go, and as he lets go, he grabs the steering wheel, and we we go down this ravine and into like a forest. And Gig is in the front of the cart, and it has absolutely impaled him into this forest. And Ted and I are laughing, and Gig is in so much pain. There's branches he's scraped up, and so Ted and I get out, and Gig's like, "Ow, hurry, you guys!" And we cannot pull this cart out, and he is stuck. And so we sent Ted back we didn't have cell phones, right? He runs back to the clubhouse to get some help, and I'm just hanging out with Gig. And it turns into 15 minutes of storytelling as he's stuck in this forest. And he's like, I'm becoming part of the forest, Dean. I'm part of Wasatch. You know, all these like ridiculous gigisms, right? And then like another minute, I'm like, are you okay? He'd be, I'm fine. I'm part of the forest. And there's the moose. There's the Wasatch moose. And all this stuff that he's just inventing. And these guys are going to play through us. Don't let them play through us. And he's like bleeding, you know? And so pretty soon, Ted comes, and we've got two guys from the maintenance crew. We're trying to get this card out, and of course we're thinking, we're going to owe this place $1,000 for a golf cart. But Gig somehow wins these two guys over by telling other ridiculous stories. So we end up pulling this card out and didn't have to pay a dime. And he ends up, we finished the round, had a great day, scratched, bleeding, and then just kind of telling more stories out of it. So I was amazed, and it just continued all the way to the end of his life, how he was able to just, make us smile all the time, regardless of how much pain he was in. It was impressive. So anyways, I just wanted to toast Gig for that. Thanks for everything you brought into our life, Gig.
Gig story from pertaining to golf. Back in you two might know a little bit where the putter came from, but if you've ever played when you were younger and played the putt at Lagoon, well, those putters, were made for small people. Well, Gig must have had a really good putt day one time because he kind of stole the putter. So we get together every now and then, 8 to 12 of us, and we'd play golf. And Gig would use this putter. And he would have to bend over so far to use it, but he was pretty good with it. And so we gave him just tons of crap about it, and we're like, dude, you can't cheat, you can't use a Lagoon putter and all this. So he did get a new putter, but what he didn't tell us is he would put it in one of our bags. So we'd go in there and, you'd be pulling out a 4-iron or something, and you'd see this putter, and you would be like, oh my God, and he would always put it in the same foursome he was in. So if you were playing in the foursome either in back of him or in front of him, you knew what happened because he was dying laughing. And the other guy is like, are you kidding me? I have the putter. It was really bad because usually when you had the putter, you played horrible. So if I'm playing bad, I go right over to my bag and I'm looking around. I know I've got the damn putter. Somewhere it's in there. So we go and walk. It was a different Wasatch, but Joey or Bill or Kenny, one of the three of you had it, and you didn't find it until you were loading it in the car, and Kenny pulled it out or something, and he dropped it on the ground, and somebody at the same time was backing up from the spot right next to him. They ran over it, and the thing didn't bend. It didn't lose anything. So I don't know who still got it, but one of us has the putter, and we need to kind of keep that tradition up. It was the putter from Lagoon, man. Gig loved it. We've got to find out who's got it. That was a funny story.
So on behalf of Gig's family, I'd like to express our sincere gratitude and appreciation to all of you for being here. To the people who put this together, who organized it and planned it, and bore the expense and did all the work. We appreciate it very much. Thank you, Mary Penny. I'd also like to thank the love of my life, Julie. She was super. She was supportive. She was engaged, not only for me, but for Gig. So I know it sounds cliche, but I don't know how I would have done it without it. So thank you very much. I'm going to tell you all one story about Gig that none of you have ever heard. It's a little graphic. So I'm going to warn you now. So we were on vacation in San Francisco. with my grandparents. Maybe my kids have heard the story. And during this vacation, we were staying with some friends of my grandparents in Napa, California. And they had a pool in the backyard, which was great. And I loved the whole pool concept. And during this vacation, I think we were in San Francisco. We went to Oakland for a day. We were in San Francisco for about a week. We went to 6 baseball games in 7 nights. So my grandma was thrilled about that. So first of all, gig, we were sleeping in the backyard in a tent. And this was about the time where the Son of Sam thing was going on. So gig teased me relentlessly about how the Son of Sam was coming to get me in that tent in the backyard. Just terrorized me the whole time. So that was the first fun part of it. The second part was 3 of the games we saw were against the Reds. And we had all our baseball cards, and we were looking for autographs. And our favorite player of all time was Johnny Bench. So Bench was a guy who didn't sign a ton of autographs. He would wander over occasionally and sign, but he was a hard get. So Gig and I, this one day, had a prime spot on the rail. And Bench was out there by the batting practice cage, shooting the breeze with other players, and this was going to be our time, and we knew it. And I had to take a piss. I was about 12 years old, and it got worse and worse and worse. So the decision became, do I go pee, or do I wait this out? Well, I was going to wet myself, so I finally gave up and went to the bathroom, and sure enough, when I got back, Gig had Johnny Bench's autograph. And I cried. And I remember crying. That was just the saddest thing. Still to this day, I don't have Bench's autograph, and Gig got it. But the best part of the story was on the way home from that game. So we're in Napa. I'm not sure how far that is from San Fran, but it's a drive. So we get rolling, and Gig has a tummy ache. So it gets progressively worse. Okay, he's cramping up. He's sweating. And we're banging on the window. So we're in a mini Datsun truck with a shell on it, which we traveled in the whole trip. And we're banging on the window for Grandma and Grandpa to stop. Well, at this point in the vacay, Grandma and Grandpa had had enough of our shit. Because Gig had teased me relentlessly on the whole trip, and I was banging on that window all the time. Like, make him stop! Get him off me! So by this point, they had it. They were not paying attention. This was a real emergency. Gig had to go to the bathroom. So it became clear to us that they weren't going to respond, so Gig's like, this is happening. What do we do? So we had been to the gift shop at Candlestick Park, and we had these orange gift bags, these giant gift bags. These bags in and of themselves were like a souvenir. Like, you don't want to waste this bag. You're never going to get this chance again. But the bag was all we had, so we decided that we were going to try the bag. So I emptied all the stuff out of Gig's bag. It's a plastic bag with the little round holes in the top to carry it. So I'm spreading this thing out in the back of the shell, trying to get as much diameter as I can get so that Gig can hit the mark. So this is about to happen, and keep in mind we're in a shell, so squatting's not an option. There's not enough room to squat. So Gig gets himself in like a crab position. And he's got his hands back and his legs spread out, and I got this bag, and I'm trying to zero in, trying to get her all dialed up. And so we figure it's go time, and so Gig lets her rip. So he's sick, right? He has a stomach ache. This was not a good shit. So he goes, and he hits the bag, and it kind of cowpies. Okay, so there's like a bottom layer, and a middle layer, and a little curly top. He He hit the bag. We did really good for the most part. He hit the bag, but a little bit got off to the side. But the smell, you guys, was foul. Like it was putrid. So I'm covering my face. Gig feels much better. I'm getting sick. I cover my face, I'm trying to breathe, and I took about 3 whiffs of that. And so I'm kneeling next to Gig. I'm at the back by the tailgate, and I throw a line of puke from where I'm kneeling all the way to the cab of the truck. And it just hits the back of that cab and just goes. So we rode all the way to Napa. Just like that. Gig's on his side and he's feeling much better. He's like, oh, God. And I'm laying there in a fetal position, thinking this is the worst moment of my life. So we get back to Napa, and John and I open the back of the truck, and there's Gig, laying there with his pants down, big pile of shit, right there on his bed, and a line of puke from my head all the way to the back of the truck. I can't, if I could describe the look on their face, I would, but it was just the most sickest thing ever. Sickest story ever. The best. Right? And one more thing before I'm done, Pup. Gig and I want you to know that we finally found a way to get rid of the Sports Illustrated sweatshirt. We cremated it. Just so you know. So I can tell everybody this finally happened. So it's gone, dude.
It's like, what am I going to wear?
It is gone. That shirt is gone. Anyway, that's a story about Gig that I know you've never heard. When I was sitting there thinking about what am I going to say here, that's the story that came to mind. And you know what? We talked about it just before he died and laughed. Just one of those things you never forget. Right? So thank you all for being here. Okay?
Sweet, I'm Julie. I just want all of you to know how much Gig loved you, and Gig always had a story for everyone, and like it didn't matter if it was a phone call, a visit, you took him to your home to watch sports. I know we had him over quite a bit. But he always had a story that meant a lot to Gig, and you had a great influence in Gig's life, and there were times that we were really worried that this was it for Gig, and he would get a phone call from one of you or a visit or whatever, and it brought him back to life. It extended his life a little bit more, and I just want you all to know how important you were to Gig, and we really appreciate that.
So Gig and I had kind of a bizarre falling out. It wasn't a falling out, exactly. He slept with my wife, and there was a Not because it bothered me, but she was so disgusted. That's not true. She wasn't disgusted. No, that's not true at all. None of it is. As per usual, I don't remember things. So my experience with Gig lasted from the 7th grade through sometime into college, and it's kind of you guys have stories. I don't have stories. I have like a seamless blur of being in the back of his truck, or going into seeds after soccer, or having him in the shower talking about Kenny Vera's penis, which was worth talking about. Come on. Raise your hand if no.
He asked me to tell him how it went tonight, so I'm going to have to tell him that he came up.
Came up? Oh, great.
There's a picture.
But seriously, you just told a completely intimate story that no one knows. I want to tell a story that almost everyone knows, who was in the freshman class, a judge, especially this man. We had a teacher, Mrs. Grizzly. Oh my God. She fucking hot. Right? I mean, right, we all who? Sophomore year? I'm sorry. Well, I actually found a notebook not long ago. That was sophomore year? Oh my God. That was, anyway, so we, all the men in the class, she must have been 21. She was young, but seemed older, but young enough. And I think she enjoyed the flirting, because we certainly enjoyed it. And all of us would flirt with her, but not flirt enough to study, to impress her. So we all realized we were going to fail the class. And so the solution was obvious. We'd steal the test. Obviously. Which was an obvious thing, because that was what was done. And it was a way to make sure that everyone did well. So we went out there at Joey's plan. Joey and Gig got together and hatched a plan to go out to her house.
Oh my God.
Go out to her house en masse. This is no joke. We had honestly, we had 20 people in it. There were 3 cars, and we were all in the back, and I was in the back of the truck. And the idea was to swarm her with attention, right? Because she was a little flattered. Just swarm her with attention, and then have someone go in the house to steal the test, which is obviously there. I mean, we thought about it. It was Geek's idea. It was a good idea. We could be studying, but fuck that, we get the test. So, of course, we flood the house. She comes out walking. I don't know if she, but we are out there dancing, laughing, whatever. Fuck, it's a failure. So we get back in the car. And I'm in the back. This may not be true. Okay, this may not be true because I don't have the details, but keep going through. I'm in the back of the shell of Gig's mini truck, as always, and Joey's there. And someone says, "Oh, fuck, that's a waste of time." And he says, because Joey had gone around the back of the house, and the goddamn test was there. Hey! Right. I'll stop. There's more to the story, of course. The amazing thing is some people failed. Thank God, because if we all got A's, we'd been fucked. Gig might have failed because there's a lot of work to memorize. Okay. But I wanted to say this. I know that a number of you have... I only had a little contact with you before he died, but I can tell you the thing that was most impressive to me is those of you folks here, you came out, he talked about you a lot. He was so touched by that, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that you guys did. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
One of the best times Gig was ever proud of me. I thought of it not too long ago, probably about 2 weeks ago. And it was, he was coaching our basketball team. I was playing basketball for St. Ambrose, me and my cousin, and Gig was our coach. And we were playing St. Anne's down at St. Anne's, and we were getting smashed. I mean, it was like 35-point lead, and we weren't getting any calls. And everybody, the whole St. Ambrose team was frustrated. And I wasn't really the best player. I had a 3-point shot, but that was pretty much it. And the luck when that went in. But Gig says, "Screw this shit, Jason. Get in there and get your 5 fouls as fast as you can." I said, "What? Gig, what?" He's like, "Just hammer him. Kick him, punch him, elbow him, butt him, do what you gotta do. This is bullshit." So, of course, I go to the table, I get in, and minute 30, I come back out. And Gig puts his arms around me and says, "Jason, you're so good, bro. You're the awesomest. I'm so proud of you." And I said, "Well, thank you, Uncle. Thank you for sharing that with me and believing in me." So, and that story popped up, and I just I'm gonna miss him. He was gig, he was great, and I'm glad I made it to his party. Glad to see a lot of faces that recognize me and don't recognize me. And I love you, Uncle. I have his thing on my phone. If I can. All right, maybe I don't know. It's cute. But I just want to say thank you and love you, Uncle.